She cheated, lied, and laughed in my face. Now my new girlfriend slammed her into the driveway like a folding chair. Hi, I'm Alan, 36, and my wife told me word for word, I'm done being a wife. Deal with it. So I did. With screenshots, a prenup, and a process server who showed up to her office like a plot twist in a legal drama. This is how I found out my wife was cheating, how I used her own father's prenup against her, and how I ended up eating pizza while she sobbed on the floor of my best friend's apartment, realizing she'd lost everything. Let's begin. Blair and I were married for 8 years. The first few were good. The kind of teamwork marriage that looked like YouTube DIY projects and Sunday grocery runs. I worked industrial welding nights and overtime. She was a recruiter downtown. Different lives, but we made it work. But somewhere around year 4, the shift happened. She got promoted. More dinners with colleagues. More makeup. More late-night team events. Less eye contact at home. We used to eat dinner together every night. Then it was once a week. Then it was just me, reheating frozen pizza while she texted from a rooftop. And then came Tatiana. If you've ever met someone who talks like a self-help book and lives like a car crash, you've met a Tatiana. Blair's new best friend. Divorced 3 times. Life advice on full volume. You deserve more. You're settling. Why be a wife when you can be a queen? Every time Blair spent time with her, she came back colder, detached. Started talking about restructuring our dynamic, like we were co-workers, not spouses. Then one Saturday morning, after 10 weeks without intimacy, I sat across from her at the kitchen table and said, "We need to talk about us." She didn't even look up from her phone. "I'm not sleeping with you anymore. Deal with it," she said. "I'm done pretending to be a housewife for a man who can't give me the life I deserve." And she walked away. That was the moment I snapped. Not loudly. Not violently, but quietly, the kind of snap that plans. That night, I packed a bag, left a note on the counter, "You wanted space. Here it is," and walked out at 5 o'clock a.m. before she woke up. And that was the beginning of her downfall. I crashed at Dante's. Old friend. Bulldozer operator. No drama. Just a recliner, a fridge full of beer, and quiet understanding. That first night, we watched football and didn't talk much. He didn't need me to explain. Just nodded and said, "Good. She's not your problem anymore." Blair, meanwhile, acted like I was on a work trip. Sent me texts about the water bill, the mortgage, the trash pickup. Never once asked why I left. Never asked if I was okay. Thursday came. I met with Carter, the attorney Dante's brother recommended. I brought every document I could carry. Tax returns, bank records, retirement statements. Carter flipped through them with half interest. Until I handed him the prenup. "Did you read this before signing?" I shrugged. "Her dad wrote it. Said it was standard." Carter's eyes lit up like a pinball machine. "Alan, this prenup has an infidelity clause. If either party cheats, they get nothing. No joint assets. No spousal support." It felt like a spark lit a fuse in my chest. Carter leaned in. "All we need is proof." That's when I remembered the old tablet. An iPad we used for recipes years ago. Still on our shared cloud account. Probably buried in a drawer. If she'd been messaging anyone on Massage, it would be there. Synced. Untouched. I waited for her Atlanta work trip. Wednesday night p.m. I drove to the house. Let myself in quietly. The place looked the same, but colder. Like no one had lived in it. Only passed through. Found the tablet in the kitchen drawer. Plugged it in. 30 minutes later. Synced. 312 unread messages. Most junk. But one contact. I opened it. My breath caught. Flirty messages. Inside jokes. Mentions of hotel rooms. Her telling him, "He's so checked out. We're basically roommates. I deserve better." And then the kicker photos. From a Phoenix conference she told me was work mandatory. Her and this guy. Raphael in restaurants, hotel rooms, even one selfie. In our guest room, I sat on the cold kitchen tile, my stomach hollow, and screenshotted everything. Then I emailed it all to Carter with the subject line, "Here's your proof." His reply, "This is bulletproof." She walks away with nothing, and suddenly, for the first time in months, I felt calm, not angry, not broken, just focused, because Blair told me to deal with it, and I was about to. Sunday morning, She texted me all casual asking if I could stop by the house to go over the utilities. Utilities. I drove over. Calm as a monk, she had a whole pitch ready. Sat me down at the kitchen table like she was running a corporate meeting. Talked about restructuring our marriage into something more modern. No pressure, no intimacy, just two adults sharing property and expenses. I'm not into traditional marriage anymore, she said, sipping her coffee like she just discovered minimalism on Instagram. But we don't need to blow up our lives, I nodded slowly. That sounds workable. I'll need to sort some logistics, she smiled. Thought she won. Thought I was folding. Had no idea that Carter had filed the divorce paperwork that morning, with the prenup and 200 plus screenshots as Exhibit A. She also didn't know she was about to be served at her office in front of her whole team. Carter's idea. You want to restructure a marriage like a business? He said. Then let's deliver this like a business memo. Tuesday at 3:00 p.m. A process server walked into her open plan office and handed her an envelope. Witnesses said she turned white. 2 partners saw it happen. 1 HR representative. At least 3 junior recruiters. Inside. Petition for dissolution of marriage. Grounds. Infidelity. Attached. Every text. Every photo. Every hotel receipt charged to our joint account. She called me 23 times that afternoon. I didn't pick up. Dante and I were watching a movie and eating pizza when she banged on his door like a banshee. Dante opened it. She shoved past him, spotted me on the couch. What the hell did you do? I took a bite of pizza. You told me to deal with it. So I did. She went ballistic. Yelled about privacy violations. Accused me of sabotage. Threatened to sue. That's when I grabbed the tablet off Dante's coffee table and started scrolling slowly through her messages with Raphael. Her face crumbled. She lunged for it. Dante stepped in. She screamed, "This is illegal." I said, "Shared device. Shared cloud. Shared house. My lawyer has the receipts. Want the statute codes?" She stared at me, panicked, speechless, then said, voice cracking, "We can fix this. I'll change, please." I looked her dead in the eyes. "You told me you were done being a wife. Remember?" Her mouth opened, then closed, and just when it couldn't get messier, Tatiana burst through the door like a dollar store villain. "You're really going to destroy your marriage over one mistake?" she shrieked. Dante crossed his arms. "Tatiana, you've been divorced 3 times for cheating. Maybe sit this one out." She launched into a tirade about patriarchy, fragile men, and emotional oppression. Harper, my sister, texted me later, "Please tell me you filmed it." I didn't, but that was the moment everything flipped. Not just legally, emotionally. She lost control, and I'd never felt more in charge of my own life. After that night, Blair's mask cracked. She stopped pretending. And oh, more icy professionalism. No more, we're just evolving. She went full scorched earth. Texts, calls, voice messages switching between tears and fury. "You ruined my life," one said. "You're throwing away 8 years," said another. "You humiliated me," a third. I didn't answer any of them. I forwarded them all to Carter instead. For the file, Blair's attorney tried everything to slow things down. Claimed the tablet evidence was illegally obtained. Carter laughed. He had notarized proof of the shared account. Emails between us confirming the setup years ago. And screenshots showing she never disconnected from the cloud. Next, they tried to invalidate the prenup. Alan signed under pressure, her attorney claimed. Carter countered with the original signing video, witnessed by a notary, both lawyers present, time-stamped emails, and Blair's dad himself stating, "It's standard family protection. No one's being forced." Irony? That same protection her dad insisted on was now slicing Blair off from everything. Fidelity clause. Airtight. Result? Blair gets only her premarital retirement account. No house. No joint savings. No alimony. Nothing earned during the marriage. She keeps what she brought in. Period. Carter called me after court documents went through. She has no legal play left. It's either settle quietly or drag this through litigation and still walk away broke. She chose to settle, but not quietly. She tried to win the court of public opinion, posted a long Instagram story. To everyone asking, "Yes, Alan and I are divorcing. Relationships are complex. Sometimes people change. Sometimes support turns into control. I'm focusing on growth and healing. She tagged Tatiana. Of course. Comments were not kind. One read, girl, growth doesn't include hotel receipts and someone else's husband. Another, we saw the screenshots. Maybe heal in silence. Meanwhile, Harper, Raphael's ex, the one he cheated on to be with Blair, reached out to me on Facebook. Simple message. Hey, I think we have some overlapping trauma. Want to compare notes? We met for coffee. She brought receipts of her own. Turns out Raphael had lied to her for months. Told her Miami was a work trip. Told her Blair was just a colleague. Same script. Different victim. We talked for 3 hours that first day. Mostly about how stupid we'd felt. But there was something easy about it. No pressure. Just two people with matching scars. One coffee turned into weekly dinners. Then she helped me paint my new garage. Then she stayed over. Woke up in one of my old flannel shirts, hair messy, smiling, and said, so, this is weird, right? Good weird, I said. Fiona, my sister, queen of ruthless honesty, met Harper one weekend and declared, yep, she's family now. Don't screw this up, Alan. Life began to feel like mine again, and then Blair lost it again. Saturday morning. Harper's in the kitchen making eggs. I'm in the garage organizing drill bits. Doorbell rings. She answers it, bland hinged, mascara running, yelling. You replaced me with her? Harper didn't flinch. Funny, didn't you replace him with Raphael? Then Blair made a mistake. She shoved Harper. Now, what Blair didn't know, and what I had only recently learned, is that Harper used to compete in amateur kickboxing. 12-3 record. She blocked Blair's second swing like a reflex, swept her legs, and had her face down on my driveway in under 5 seconds. Try that again, Harper said, pinning her. And you'll leave in an ambulance. I came outside mid-chaos, still holding a wrench. Blair screamed. You're letting her assault me? You showed up uninvited and swung first, I said. That's called trespassing and assault. She left crying, threatening, shoes in hand. I sent Carter the ring cam footage. 2 hours later, Fiona called. A neighbor filmed it and sent it to me. Just watched Harper fold your ex-wife like a lawn chair. Frame it. Hang it next to your diploma. 3 days later, Blair texted, I'm filing charges against your girlfriend. I forwarded it to Carter. His reply? Please tell her to go ahead. We have 3 angles of HD footage showing her start the fight. If she files, we'll countersue for trespassing, harassment, and assault. She'll lose. I sent that message to Blair. She went silent. Forever. Blair never filed those charges, probably because Carter's message hit harder than Harper's takedown. From that point on, it was like someone pulled the plug on her whole performance. No more threats. No more grand speeches about reclaiming independence. Just silence. Instagram went dark. No more curated rooftop photos or vague captions about rising from the ashes. Even Tatiana disappeared. Fiona, of course, was tracking everything like a private investigator with a grudge. Tatiana bailed, she reported one night over the phone. Apparently female empowerment doesn't cover bailouts when your drama stops trending. Turns out Blair had no one left. Raphael ghosted her the moment the divorce finalized. And once his company caught wind of the scandal, thanks to a few anonymous emails with screenshots attached, he got demoted. No more conferences. No more team restructuring. Just a desk job in a corner no one visits. Blair, once the queen of polished LinkedIn posts and luxury brunches, was now living in a small apartment across town. The kind of neighborhood she used to roll her eyes at when we drove by. Her captions shifted from flexes to vague emotional posts. Sometimes you have to lose everything to find yourself. Yeah, or maybe stop cheating. Meanwhile, I was busy living. Harper and I were 4 months in. Nothing rushed. Just comfortable. She started keeping a toothbrush at my place. Then clothes. Then a camera bag in the garage. She'd sit on a stool while I welded furniture pieces on weekends. Said she loved the sparks. It's like photography, she said once. Watching me work. Precision, focus, and a little fire. We didn't talk about our EXEs much anymore. Not because we forgot, but because we didn't need to. We'd survived the storm. We weren't building our lives despite it. We were building because of it. Even Dante noticed. You look lighter, he said one night. Like you finally stopped dragging that anchor. I smiled. She wanted me to deal with it. And I did. Then came the message. From Blair. Final message. No drama. Just one last shot. I hope you're happy. You destroyed my life over money. I loved you. And you humiliated me. You and that other loser are pathetic. Enjoy your boring, cheap life. I didn't reply with insults. Just facts. I am happy, actually. Also, the Venmo request is still open if you want to settle your half of the hotel bills. $6,427. Have a great life. She blocked me again. I didn't care, because I was already free. 3 weeks later, I was in my garage finishing a commissioned steel and walnut coffee table when Fiona showed up with tacos and a smirk. Guess who moved back in with her parents? She said, handing me a bag. I'll give you 3 guesses, but you only need one. I raised an eyebrow. Blair? Ding ding ding. She blew through her savings trying to keep up her lifestyle. Turns out, posting about empowerment doesn't pay rent. Apparently, her new apartment came with reality checks. Designer coffee doesn't taste as good when it's made with generic beans, and no one's footing the bill. She tried landing more clients, but word got around. Employers don't line up to hire someone whose divorce drama became a trending meme. Meanwhile, Tatiana was working on divorce number 4. Some poor guy thought this time would be different. Bless his heart, I wasn't gloating. Not really. I didn't wish misery on Blair, just distance. Permanent, peaceful distance. And peace is exactly what I was finally building. Harper was booking gigs left and right. Wedding shoots, product photography, even a few portraits for small business owners. She brought in lighting equipment one weekend and turned my garage into a makeshift studio. It was chaos. And honestly, kinda fun. Never thought I'd see the day, Dante said when he stopped by and saw us working side by side. This man's out here welding tables while his girl takes headshots in the same space. I shrugged. It works, Fiona? She was obsessed. This woman supports your job, doesn't care about your income, respects your work ethic, and flips cheaters like pancakes. Marry her, give it time, I said. But the thought had already crossed my mind more than once. It wasn't about rebound love or revenge. It was about ease. I could breathe again. I wasn't walking on eggshells or chasing someone who already decided I was beneath her. Harper didn't see me as a stepping stone. She saw me as a partner, and after 8 years of being treated like an accessory to someone else's ambition, that was everything. We started planning a trip to Colorado. She wanted to photograph the Rockies in the fall. I wanted to see mountains again, clear my head even more. I booked a cabin with a workshop out back. Figured I'd weld by day while she edited photos on the porch. No rooftop restaurants. No fake networking dinners. Just clean air, hard work, and someone beside me who actually wanted to be there. Funny thing is, Blair always said I didn't give her the life she deserved. But it turns out I was the one who built a life worth keeping. The cabin in Colorado turned out better than expected. Rustic but solid, big windows, a quiet lake nearby, and enough workshop space for me to set up a small welding rig for a week. Harper took 100 photos before we even unpacked. Light hitting the lake just right. Steam from our coffee mugs. She caught me mid-yawn one morning, hair a mess, and said, "Don't move." Click. Why? I asked. "Because you look like peace." I laughed. I look like I need a haircut. That trip cemented it. Not just that we worked, but that we fit. Same rhythms. No drama. No games. No keeping score. We talked late into the night about dumb stuff, serious stuff, and dreams we didn't even know we had until we said them out loud. I mentioned wanting to open a side business, custom industrial furniture. Something small, local, maybe a website someday. Harper lit up. "I'll shoot your product photos. Build the site. I know people." I blinked. "You do all that?" She sipped her coffee. "You're building tables. I'm just helping people find it." Meanwhile, Blair tried a soft re-entry. Through mutual friends. Fiona's phone buzzed one afternoon while we were on the porch. "Fiona, so, Blair asked if you'd be open to coffee. Just to talk." Me, about what? Fiona, about the weather? Regret? Who knows? I told her to try Starbucks and Jesus, not you. We laughed for 10 straight minutes. Later that night, Harper was editing shots of the Rockies in golden hour. I looked over and said, "You know, this wasn't the plan." She didn't look up. What wasn't? Meeting someone after all that. Feeling calm again. Being here. With you. She glanced up. Was your plan better? Nope, not even close. We drove home from Colorado with the new rhythm. She dozed off in the passenger seat, legs tucked under her, wearing one of my hoodies. Her camera bag was jammed between her feet. The road stretched out like a promise. Back in town, I started putting real hours into the shop. Welded 3 new table designs. Harper posted them on her Instagram. Orders started coming in. Small stuff at first in tables, custom shelving, but still. Real interest. Real money. One message came from a guy in Oregon. Saw your work on IG. Clean welds. Love the mix of raw steel and walnut. Do you ship? I shipped. Then more orders followed. Suddenly, I wasn't just the guy whose wife cheated. I was a guy running a shop with a wait list. Funny how life works. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I stood in my garage, staring at a table. I'd just finished welding hand-brushed steel frame. Reclaimed maple top. Sturdy. Balanced. Clean. Harper leaned in from the doorway, holding 2 coffees. That the one for the couple in Vermont? Yeah, I said, wiping sweat from my forehead. Shipping it Tuesday, she smiled. You really built something, Alan. She didn't mean the table, and she was right. The business had a name now, Steel and Grain Works. Harper built the site, ran the socials, scheduled client shoots. Orders doubled in 3 months. I was working weekends again, but this time, for myself. Life was quiet and real. Fiona came by one afternoon with a 6-pack and a smirk. You finally gonna marry this one? Or do I have to propose on your behalf? I chuckled. We're not rushing. She popped a beer. Good. But also, don't be stupid. Dante showed up later, took one look at Harper working the camera in the corner and said, you upgraded. Substantially, no lies detected. Then, one evening, while Harper and I were watching a meteor shower from the bed of my truck, wrapped in a blanket, she asked, do you ever miss it? The old life? I didn't even have to think. No, I missed the idea of what it was supposed to be. But not what it really was. She nodded. Yeah, I get that. We didn't talk about Blair much anymore. Not because it hurt, but because it didn't matter. But Fiona kept tabs. She always did. Last update, Blair was still with her parents. Tried to reboot her career, but the internet never forgets. Those screenshots? Still floating around. Her name had become a warning in certain recruiting circles. As for Raphael, laid off. Again. Word was, he'd burned bridges. Nobody wanted a drama magnet on the team, no matter how well he wore a vest. And Tatiana filed for divorce number 4, maybe 5. Who's counting? The real full circle moment came when I checked my Venmo one night out of curiosity. The request to Blair, $6,427 still pending. Over 3,000 likes. Hundreds of comments. People turned it into a meme. I left it there. Not for her. For me. A quiet monument to how far I'd come. But because Blair told me to deal with it. So I did. I walked away. Rebuilt my life from the ground up. And found someone who didn't just want what I could provide, but who wanted me. That's how you deal with it. With receipts. Calm. And a woman who can dropkick your ex on the front lawn without spilling her coffee. And maybe, just maybe, a walnut coffee table built with your own 2 hands. Thanks for listening, Al. Go check your Venmo. I'm sure your own Blair isn't still charging you for her self-discovery.